Have you ever wondered why is it that our governments, our organizations, whether they're private or otherwise, everything it seems like is anti-native, whether that's Christianity or any native group, let's say the nationalists, the patriots, white people, everyone feels that they're always being sacrificed on the altar of a greater good, which does not involve them. For example, we have seen Christian preachers getting fines in England, but Muslim preachers, nothing happens to them. We have seen Christian women praying silently outside abortion clinic, getting fines or even arrested. But nothing like that ever happens when a Muslim or a group of Muslims turn up and pray in front of British landmarks. We have also seen our private organizations, companies, corporations, they bend over backwards for Muslims. Our airports create special prayer rooms for them. But when it comes to Christians, they look the other way. Or, okay, let's just extend our sphere and include patriots, nationalists, who are not really fighting for Christianity. They're fighting for their national symbols, national pride. Even they are always shunned by the establishment. Have you ever wondered why that is? And of course, that is a genuine grievance. And I have spoken at length about this, and I'm sure you have felt that. Have you ever wondered why that is? Yes, it's very tempting to think that there is an organized conspiracy behind it. There are some people who have planned this. And then we start going into the domain of conspiracy theories. But I have a different explanation. Bear with me. But before I go further, let me play you this video. This is the latest controversy, which is destroying, ripping Coca-Cola apart. Have a listen to this. Nearly 500,000 views on Twitter, which matters the most. Trust me, 500,000 means at least 10,000, at least 1,000 influential people have seen that. Elon Musk will see it, or some other people will see it. And when influential people amplify a certain message, it resonates well, which is the reason why our world is changing very rapidly. For the good, or maybe for the bad, I don't know. It depends on which narrative wins. So watch this.
Coca-Cola, I'm going to need an explanation for this.
All right, we're going to do this one live because I don't want to see any comments that, oh, this is a conspiracy theory, blah, blah. You can see we're on the Coca-Cola website URL right there. We're going to scroll down to personalize our Coke can. The first entry we're going to try is Allah is King. No issues with that. You can see it on the Coke can. Next entry we're going to try. No issues with that. Let's even try Satan is King. Zero issues with Satan. Now let's try Jesus is King.
Uh-oh.
Now that's where there's issues. So you can still see the Satan on the Coke can here. Immediately rejects Jesus is King. Gonna need an explanation on this one.
Okay, I might have an explanation for this. It's not because Coca-Cola is anti-Christianity. Let's zoom out a little bit, okay? Before the advent of multiculturalism, the West, across the board, pretty much every single Western country had agreed on one basic principle. There were two competing narratives before multiculturalism, which had been actually settled for at least 100 plus years. The separation of church and state. Before that, the West saw that when we mix religion with politics, nothing good comes out of it. So this is a reason why we saw the birthplace of secularism in the West. Some other countries have done that too, but let's just leave them out. We're talking specifically about the West. You have some proponents who are saying we need to draw our morality from Christianity, and some people are saying, no, politics need to evolve independently. However, since most people in the West are Christians, therefore our norms, our traditions, this is why we say Western civilization is built on Judeo-Christian values. No doubts about that. Anything that is considered odd in Christianity is considered odd in Western society, for example. For example, cousin marriage. The reason why secular Western societies still find banging cousins odd is because that tradition disappeared a long time ago. Okay, so that was the competing narrative. So the narrative of secularism won, and Christians actually lost ground. I don't know whether willingly or natural evolution, I don't care. So the trajectory of evolution of Western civilization has been towards secularism, meaning, and that's why our departments, our organizations, our private companies and corporations, and our society at large mostly had decided that it is good to keep religion away from other independent moving bodies of your society. Therefore, this is the reason why people stopped mentioning Jesus or Christianity in school assemblies or in organizations or in governments. Now people still, I think, take oaths on the Bible, but mostly that is going away. It has been going away for nearly 200 years because of the rise of secularism. Now, we have decided that our society is going to be a secular society. Boom. And that was perfectly fine. It was working out. That doesn't mean Christianity completely went away, but officially it went away, which is the reason why Coca-Cola is a product of that society, which is the reason why they're trained from not letting any religious thing come into their daily operations as a business. But now, separating church and state is a done and dusted, settled argument. Multiculturalism comes in. What do we do about these people? Because we need to make them feel welcome too. So what we do, we tell our mainstream society that, guys, you know what? We've already agreed, no religion. Religion cannot take part in politics. Let us handle this one. Just work with us. Show a little bit of compassion and understanding. And because your economic conditions are okay, that's why most people on this side, broader Western society, didn't say anything wrong with that. They said, okay, that's perfectly fine. So they start making exceptions for them. You want Sharia courts? Okay, that's fine. As long as it doesn't encroach on our mainstream legal framework, we don't mind it. But these people, they haven't had this debate of the separation of church and state. They haven't had it. They have a completely different worldview. They, yes, have come in as genuine migrants. People want to improve their lives, kind of like I did. I did not know I'm going to become an atheist and a Western civilizationist. I did not know that at that point. Nobody knows any of these things. However, over time, their numbers kept growing and the West kept appeasing them. Oh, you want to shout Allahu Akbar? You want to behave? Even they misbehave? Oh, why are they doing this? You got to look at it from Western civilization's perspective. Yes, there are individual players. Sometimes players evolve who are also blinded by their ideological dogma, i.e. dismantle Western civilization, create a new utopia where people from all races and cultures come in. All of those people are there, but you, again, got to look at it from Western civilization's perspective. What exactly happened? So we wanted to bring in multiculturalism. It's going to work out. Everything will be fine. It was done with best intentions. This is why we say the road to hell is paved with best intentions. And now that is growing and growing. And now these people, Westerners, are getting upset. Now they're saying, oh, hang on a second. We cannot even mention Jesus. We cannot even pray silently outside abortion clinics without being hounded and abused and cursed and intimidated and attacked. And these people, grooming gangs, stabbings, unlimited terrorist attacks, constant provocations, disrespecting our traditions, our values, our religion, our landmarks. They pray in front of them. They have overtaken our cities, turned them into ghettos. Our cities and towns look unrecognizable. What is this? What are we gaining out of that? These people are saying, and rightfully so. They should say that. So that's where we are at the moment. Our civilization is shaped by competing narratives. Before multiculturalism, it was, should we become a Christian theocratic state or should we become a secular liberal state? Those were the two competing narratives. The founding fathers of America played a huge role in creating the best experiment. The founding fathers of America, this is why they are so important, and smart people respect them so much, because this is the only successful revolution, and it was a brand new experiment. If you look at the contemporaries of the 18th and the 19th centuries, they had shrugged off America as a failure. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, well, there you go. Did you know that the Brits and the French were thinking about supporting the Confederates? But then when President Abe Lincoln, when he signed the Proclamation of Emancipation, when he signed that, the Brits and the French, they backed off because they were like, oh, we can't openly support the side that is asking for slavery, because the Brits had already ended slavery. nobody knew at that point that America is going to become such a successful country. The American experiment is the most successful experiment when it comes to building nation states. And they were the pioneers of secularism. And it worked throughout the 20th century, you know? If you sometimes sit down and think about why is it that America, the poster boy of secular liberal democracy, had 90% Christians throughout the 20th century. They were fighting a godless heathen army, the Soviets, at least in the second part. But they remained Christians, but they still did not become a theocratic state. There was never a threat of America becoming a theocratic state. Maybe, you know, both Abe Lincoln and the Confederates used Christianity to further their narrative. And again, at that point, the two competing narratives were all men are created equal, or no, hang on, we have our vested interests. We need slavery. So it's always the competing narratives. And right now, fast forward to our time, the competing narratives, one is multiculturalism and one is monoculturalism. That's it. Monoculturalism basically just means, it's not monoracial. Monoculturalism basically just means we're going to have one culture, one loyalty. We can only have loyalty to the country we live in. That's it. No divided loyalties. We see people like Hamza Yusuf, the former First Minister of Scotland. He just convened a conference for the betterment of the Muslims. You're a Brit. No, you have diverged your interests. So anyway, so wrap it up. Competing narratives. One narrative is that multiculturalism must prevail and we need to keep bending the knee to them, to their demands, and keep appeasing them. But the natives are now growing restless because they have seen that they have lost so much ground in the name of multiculturalism, in the name of appeasing them, but they're digging their own graves. So they have understood that. They are waking up. And that's why this narrative, which is the preservation of Western civilization or monoculturalism, is going to win over multiculturalism. That is a done deal. And there are no evil people behind Coca-Cola. It is a well-observed behavior across the board. Western corporations, whether you are in Australia or in America, Western corporations behave in a similar manner. They push back against Christianity, but they don't push back against anything because there's a conflict in our civilization, because there are two competing narratives at the moment. We are in the middle of a narrative war, and it's not the job of corporations to get involved with which side to pick, which is why the winning narrative will determine what happens in the future. Either Jesus is king, is allowed, or Allah is king, Muhammad is king, Muhammad is PDF. Nothing is, well, PDF is allowed, but nothing else is allowed. So I hope that made sense.